I wanted to talk about something, but I wasn't really sure what topic I should jump into. So I tried to look into my intuition and see what I wanted to really talk about. There's so much information out there, and we're definitely living, as Terence McKenna says, we're living in a uh, time of novelty, and a lot of information is being spread around us. And it's accelerating to a point that our consciousness is being like transformed at a speed that wasn't available before. Like we have a lot of information uh, being put out on a daily basis, a lot of new discoveries, new inventions, new milestones that we as humanity are passing through, right? And I always try to remember that the main purpose of life is to know ourselves. And that is the highest form of work, of spiritual work, and physical work as well. Like it does require physical work, physical effort to take care of yourself, to look within and truly know and understand who you are. And it could be by listening to videos like this one, uh, actually finding the time to listen to it, to know yourself more, journal about it, try to discover your traumas, your past experiences, the things that really left a mark on you in your life. In the age of novelty, these information that are being spread around us are serving a distraction that prevents us from looking within and doing the real work that actually is the main purpose of our existence. Science today is being more and more complex because of all this information. Not to say that it's not true what they are putting out, not to say that the theories are subjective and not objective, not to say that science is bad, but just to say that we are looking at the wrong type of science. We're not looking at things that are helping us simplify life and take us closer to our purpose. This subject was very fascinating to me, and it played a significant part of my life and many people's life, of course. Being spiritual and finding enlightenment and following our purpose. I think we all understand that it's the journey and it's not the end result. The journey is meant to be experienced in a way that we make it exciting instead of making it just fill a gap that is within us. So we are not we're not suppressing who we are. We're just discovering and we're revealing who we are. There's a great psychic understanding that we can look into, and that is the nature of our emotions and how our consciousness actually exists. If we have to say that the traumas that we have passed through and the emotional struggling, the pains, the the guilt, the shame, all the bad emotions or the experiences that we witnessed through our life. If we had to take that and try to think about it for a second, do we want to re-experience that thing, that bad thing? And that's just simply a question, like, do we want to go back and experience that bad thing that happened to us? If we say no, then that's a choice that we have to stick with. So we don't want to go back and experience that. That's perfect. That is the first choice that determines to which path are we trying to take. After we have the right direction, we can understand that, okay, these experiences can either make us better and stronger or make us we actually can use these experiences to make ourselves feel better and in a more enlightened or better place, or we can use these experiences to fall back into that trauma. So it's a decision to see, like, which path are we trying to take. Do we want to use these past things that happened to us to fall back, or to go forward in our purpose, in our vision? Just sitting with that choice is the source of all powers. Because now, when we are sitting in that choice, we're not taking a fast decision to choose the path or anything. We're just sitting with that choice, seeing, okay, I have the choice to use the things that I've went through in my past for the good or the bad. I can make it, I can use it to make me stronger or to make me weaker. That space is the fundamental source of power, because we cannot go forward in time without the past, right? We have to accept the things that happen to us. We don't want to live in denial, because if we lived in denial, we will fall into the survival frequency, as the map of consciousness, which I will display here, tells us. This is a map by David R. Hawkins. If we think our past is something that we have to deny, or we feel shameful about, guilt, we're going to be stuck in that low frequency. But if we acknowledge it, accept it, and know that we want to use that to make ourselves better, that space is the source of all power. To know that we have the choice is the only way to take that choice. If we have to be guided throughout life by other people telling us what to do, and instead of us knowing why we should do it, we will always feel powerless. And we always want the attention of others, and the approval of others, and the help and assistance of others. But if we look at the past, we acknowledge it, we sit with it, we understand that we have a choice. We don't think about the past, we just understand that and sit with that choice. And all of a sudden we start having that power, before even taking the steps and thinking about the path, because that will make us rush the path, if that makes sense. But just understanding that we have the choice is the first step. Whether it took you years to know what you have to do with your time, your job, your work, your skills, etc. Once we understand that we have that choice, then we are starting to really know who we are and to study the things that make sense to us. A great example that I like to look at is students who go to the universities. They choose the path, but they turn out to have chosen the path that they thought uh, was right, but it wasn't right for them. Like, for example, kids who wanted to heal people, and all of a sudden they hear about this major in the university, doctors, and they think that they are doing something good for society, that they are preventing diseases, that they are preventing suffering. Um, but look at us now. Like, they're not doing anything. They're not improving the quality of life. They're suppressing the symptoms. They're not preventing diseases. They're not raising awareness towards the bad food, towards things that are bad for us. The whole system of the medical community is made to create more sick people instead of healing people. But these kids who wanted to actually help people now have picked a path that wasn't actually helping people. And this is the result of us trusting others when it comes to our path. If we tend to know ourselves and understand the reality around us in simplicity instead of complexity, and in simplicity I mean like our nature, how we exist, who are we, um, everything will start to become simple, and we'll start having better options and better choices, and we become in control. So isn't that the most important thing that we have to discuss among each other? Isn't that the most important thing when it comes to health, when it comes to healing, when it comes to education? Because it is exciting, it is entertaining as well to understand ourselves, to go through life and get these experiences that help us awaken, understand ourselves. This is exciting and entertaining as well. It's a spiritual journey, and this is the purpose of life. So I think there's a lot of information out there, and there's complexity, and complexity leads to control. When things are more and more and more complex, people will fall out of trying to know who they are, and that can create imbalances. And complexity will create more confusion in society, which makes the people confused instead of more aware and conscious about who they are and how to overcome these layers of survival, the shame, the guilt, the apathy, the grief. If we're being stuck in the past, thinking about the past, instead of just acknowledging it, knowing that it exists, not denying it, just knowing that it exists, and that we don't want to experience that again. All of a sudden, we start feeling the power that this is not something that we want to choose to go through again. Then we'll start taking the precautions not for that to happen again, and we'll start working on improving ourselves. So we're basically learning from our mistakes. This is growth. And this growth in consciousness, the escape of the survival mode, and escape of fear as well, because fear is more than just an emotion. It's a spiritual thing that gets attached to us and hold us back. So once we overcome all these energy levels, we start feeling better and more flowing in life. And all of a sudden, we start feeling better. We start breathing better. We start becoming more grateful for the present and even the past. We start feeling good about our life, about our future. And we start taking positive steps to improve our situation. And this is growth. If we are not aware of this, then we cannot say that we are actually living. We are surviving. If we are not aware that we are in control, that we have the power, then we are surviving. And when we are surviving, we will always be blaming either ourselves or others. And for the point where science and all its novelty can give us certain points of information where we can blame that information or use that information to make us safe. So basically now science is being our safe zone, our savior, instead of us being the savior. Seeing that savior within us instead of outside of us. If we're looking for the savior outside of us, then we are living in survival. But if we are tapping deep and we see the savior within us, then we have the potential to grow, and we are all what we need to advance in these levels of consciousness. There's a reason why this information is not out there and being promoted or even explained by scientific community in such easy sense. And the reason why is because these scientists, these authorities survive out of people. They depend on people being ignorant and not understanding themselves. That's how they survive. Because being an authority figure, you need people who you can help, who needs you. And when you have people who needs you, like for example the pharmaceutical companies, when you have people who needs you, then you are in power. That's why these people are in power. But once we understand that we are all what we need when it comes to power, then we take our power back and we start living instead of surviving.